Let's see if it opens the door.
Booyah!
Hi, what's up, Adamya?
यही तो वीडियो चाहिए हमारे को.
What the fuck?
So, where are we heading first?
Let's go to the control room.
Let's go. See where he takes us. This is massive. Okay, what are we looking at?
So we are looking at our control room. We have 3 rooms in the studio. This is the first one, and yeah, we have a pretty good setup here. All of the acoustics which you need, firstly, to have a proper listening environment, and then the tools we need to just make sure that you have a great recording here.
Amazing, that is insane. I mean, I'm looking at these panels all across. Could you just tell us something about that?
Sure. So these panels and diffusers which you see were specifically made for the studio monitors we have here, which are the Eve Audio SC208. And yeah, so everything was just custom built for these, making sure the sound which we hear is as right and flat it can be.
Pretty specific. And what's right there on the screen? That's pretty exciting.
That is just one of our sessions. We just completed Jack of Spades' new single. So our main audio interface here is the RME UFX2, and this is a 30 in 30 out interface, which means we have a lot of inputs here. And to pair up the I/O count here, we have paired it up with the Audient ASP800, which gives us 8 additional channels to do drum recordings or anything else we want, where we need to put more mics. So the entire space is connected with audio. We have 64 channels of audio going in the entire space. So it doesn't matter where you are in the entire facility, we can record you. So let's move on to the computer bit. We have the Mac Studio from Apple we got for the new recording studio. This is M1 Max with 32 gigs of RAM and 1 TB SSD storage. So it's quite a lot of computer to process any sort of audio or video stuff we are doing here. So these are the Eve Audio SC208s we got for the recording studio, and I tested out a lot of speakers before buying these, since to me Eve was a new company. But after listening to them, I was quite stoked and quite happy that I made this purchase. To me, these are one of the best sounding speakers I've ever heard. And I used to have the JBL LSR 305s, so I put them down after having a listen on these in this room. So these are that great.
Okay, so Adamya, as you've told us so much about the acoustics of the studio, like you've literally raved about it, you're like, I'm stoked about it. Can we just get to know more?
Sure. So the acoustics you see, each bass trap and each diffuser you see here was custom made for the Eve Audio speakers we have here. So for example, the ones which you see on each side and the one above was meant for the engineer who sits on the chair and is listening directly to the speakers. And the ones at the back were meant for the client, because a lot of times when the engineer is mixing, a lot of times people can't hear the low end or the top end properly, and they end up making changes to the song which just like don't add up properly. And we made sure that whoever is sitting anywhere like in the room, they can hear the music properly.
Wow,
So,
something to be raved about.
yeah, I guess so.
We're finally out of the control room. Where are we heading next?
Let's go to the first flight room we have here.
Oh my god. These gates are huge.
Yeah, so each one weighs 200 kilos and is quite thick. So yeah, it can absorb any sort of sound which we have, like be it drums or anything. We have two here then again 2 in the second live room we have, and is approximately like it's quite thick, so like even thicker than my like hand. But anyway, it is really heavy, and it is it absorbs really well, be it drums or any sort of loud instrument which we want to record here. The sound doesn't go out at all.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, these are crazy huge.
yeah. Alright. So welcome to the first live room we have here.
So again, taking into consideration that the acoustics are the prominent part of your studio, what makes the acoustics of this room different than the control room?
So first of all, we have a lot of diffusers here which work on different set of frequencies for recording instruments. So like for example, this is a cloud diffuser we have here. Its job is to increase sustain of anything which we're putting below it. It does a great job in creating a hollowness in the room, which makes it feel like this room is bigger than what its size is. Then this diffuser is a broadband diffuser and absorber. So the black part which you see, it absorbs from 20 Hz to 20 kHz, and this brownish wooden part which you see diffuses from 800 to 3000 Hz. So that is basically the area where the most of the problematic frequencies lie, and that is the stuff we try to cut anyway when we're mixing. So it like helps our recordings sound much more natural and warm.
It's crazy how specific you have been while building this.
Yeah, we invested a lot of time and finding the right people who could make our studio how we wanted it to be.
Crazy good.
And talking about the wooden slats which surround the entire room, these also work as broadband absorbers and diffusers. And one of the things is that we've installed these wooden slats a little lower where like people generally sit. For example, if we have to record any Indian instrument like tabla or sitar or anything, the sustain and the bounce it generates is a really game changer when we are recording stuff here. Best part is that we can put everything below the cloud diffuser, so everything just sounds very like just sounds quite finished, like how a mix should sound like. So that is one of the things which is great about this room acoustically.
This mic here looks enticing. What it is about?
So this is the Neumann TLM 107. This is our go-to mic for recording probably anything we are doing. Generally we use it on vocals because it's a fantastic mic to record vocals on. One of the best parts is that it has a lot of polar patterns, which means that it can capture sound from different angles. So it can go like from 180 to 360 to just like being a cardioid mic, like how normally mics are. So this is one of our go-to mics.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay, so the drum kit we have here is the Tama Superstar Classic. It's an all maple kit. It's fantastic. Tunes really well. And yeah, the snare drums which we have here, we have 3 snare drums, actually 4. But so we actually have 4 snare drums here, and you can choose whichever one you like for your song, whichever one suits the best. And let me show you. So this is the little squealer. It's a 13x7 poke pie snare drum. It's a really cool thing. It is half maple, half birch, so you get the best of both the worlds, and you can like just make it sound exactly how you want it to. The other one is this piece. Forgetting the serial number, doesn't matter. But this is a poplar wood, which really is something which a lot of snare drums are. Drum kits generally are made from poplar wood, so we wanted to give this as a choice because why not. And the third one right now in this room is the Tama one which came with the kit. So this is an all maple, so you get 3 different wood K snare drums, and yeah, choose whichever one you want when you're recording here.
So can we talk about the cymbals now, because they look so exciting?
Sure. So these are the Istanbul Sultan series cymbals. This is the hi-hat, and it's a 14-inch.
Are these the one that we all love?
I guess so. So these are handmade in Turkey, hand hammered in Turkey, and they sound really nice. They sound very warm and like they just sound perfect to me. So this is the Istanbul Exist series. This is an 18-inch crash. So we have the Sultan set, but we wanted to give another crash, so we bought this one since we were going with the Istanbul family. And if you don't like the sound of these, we have more cymbals from Zildjian, Meinl, China's, Splashes. We got everything you need to record a song. So yeah.
Now that is tiny.
That's what she said. This is the cutest cymbal we have here. This is the MB10 8-inch Splash from Meinl we have. And this is one of the cymbals which I've seen Chris Adler from Lamb of God use. So we got one of them for the recording.
You a big fan?
Yeah, I love Lamb of God.
Okay, so what are we talking about next?
Let's talk about guitars. I'm an old school guy. I love analog. So I have a lot of analog pedals. But first let me show you the amp. This is the LX120 from Lenny. It's a 120 watt amp. And I like pairing it with a couple of pedals we have here. So one of them is the Rev G3, and this is one of the best pedals for distortion. It has a lot of stuff you can use. It has different aggression modes, like a fantastic EQ. If you need distortion, this is the pedal for recording anything from like normal rock stuff to like gent. Be it anything, like this can do the job. Then the other one is the Bogner Uberschall. This is a great overdrive pedal. If you want something light, not that heavy, then this is the pedal we have. It sounds fantastic. Don't get me wrong, it can be really heavy as well. But yeah, like we have different pedals for a reason. This is great for recording anything light to like an overdriven slashy sort of tone. The last pedal I'd like to show you is the Rev G8. I love Rev, so I picked up the noise gate from them. Since we use a lot of distortion, there is noise which is bound to come out from any amp we put here. So this is the best noise gate I could find in the market, and I got this one. So it works really well. Literally cuts out the noise to like it makes it disappear. So it's one of the best pedals. If you are looking for one, just like go for this one.
I'ma steal it. Okay, so we're finally out of that room. Where are we heading?
The second live room.
Like that.
This is the place which most of us know about and most of us love.
So this is the second live room we have here, which I rented out as a jam pad as well. So you can see there's a lot of equipment here. We have an entire drum kit. This is from Mapex, and we have Zildjian cymbals. We can have this, like we can have 4 mics here going on, and then we have guitar amps. So this is the Blackstar ID Core 100. This is a 100 watt amp. Works really well if you want to jam or even record. It just sounds really good. So this is the Mark Bass CMD JB Players combo amp. I put up a post and a poll where I asked people which amps they prefer. So they went with the Mark Bass and the Blackstar. So yeah, this is a great amp. I think it's the favorite for bassists, so that's why I think they went for this one. So yeah, we got it for the jam pad. So this is the PV Viper 30 amp. If you have 2 guitarists in your band, you can go for this amp. It sounds great. It has a lot of features. It has different pedals built in, different amp modeling, a lot of shit built inside of the amp. So yeah.
Okay, so Adamya, coming back to the acoustics of the studio, which is, as we talked about, the best part about the tiny room studio.
Yeah.
What is this room about?
So this room is completely different from the first live room we have. That room is very open sounding. This is a completely dead sounding room. We have a lot of diffusion going on here as well, because this room is a rectangular room. The way I like to describe it to anybody who's coming here is that the first live room, if you want a drum sound like Foo Fighters, that's the room. If you want to sound like RHCP, then this is the room, because this is a very dead sounding room and it is great for people to jam in. It's very easy to hear whatever the fuck you're playing here, And yeah, the acoustics, we have a lot of diffusers. Generally we went with skyline diffusers in this room. So we have two on the ceiling and one behind the kit. So this diffuser has 300 pieces of cut wood fit in specifically for low end and mid frequencies, so that when the drummer is playing, he can hear himself as properly as he can. Because a lot of times when people are jamming, the drummer cannot hear himself because like the guitarists like crank the amp up and it becomes very tough to hear each other.
Yeah.
So this diffuser helps with that. It's like having a speaker behind you which is exactly projecting what you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that, I know how much you were bothered by me because I am that guitarist.
Yeah, you are. So these two diffusers you see on the ceiling, the first one is for the guitarist and the vocalist. The other one is for the drummer. The first one really helps in sorting out the harsh and nasty frequencies which guitarists and vocalists have, which is basically the mid region of the frequencies. So it helps with that. It diffuses that in the entire room till to the drummer. When he's hearing it, it's not at all sharp or ear piercing, so it works really well. The other one is for the cymbals, like I said. So it does the same thing for the cymbals what the first one was doing for the vocalist and the guitarist. So these wooden slats which surround the entire room are there for a couple of reasons. The first one is that when a band is jamming, instruments tend to go out of phase till the back of the room. So they help in aligning the phase of the entire room. The other one is the spread of the frequencies where the guitarist or the vocalist, they're setting to the drummer. It has to be very even so that the experience for the drummer does not change when he's playing. Everybody needs to play with feel when they're playing music. So I think these play a huge role in this room for those reasons. So this is the studio we started out with. That's why our name is Tiny Room. This was a 97 square feet room, and since we didn't have any money, we just put foam everywhere and just like called it a studio. So yeah.
That's relatable. Hi. So are we saying bye to the Tiny Room studio?
Yes, thank you for looking at this video, and thank you for being a part of the video.
Yeah, we just are happy you let us in.
Thank you, and thank you Janvi for doing the incredible cameramanship.
That's how we dance in the Tiny Room studio.
Okay.
Come back to center.
Coming back to the acoustic part.
So where are we now?
The next thing I would like to show is the listener who's sitting on the chair for the on the desk. So yeah,